This is pretty on brand in the barbershop.
Yeah, it would only
Yeah,
be right.
listen, this is the home.
We just like hearing like what you have going on, how you did what you did, how you got to where you are today. And
Okay,
we really liked your videos. We really liked your
I
videos.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and your message and what you have to say.
Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you want to know, I'm open. I'm an open door policy.
All right, cool. So
You
we
know?
actually found you on TikTok,
Okay.
and you've got a pretty serious TikTok. When did that start? How did that start?
I would say my TikTok got hot about like 7 months ago.
Yeah.
I would say around like September, October last year. I was in Atlanta. I posted one of my videos. It just went crazy. And ever since then, you know, in my barbershop, this is what I've been doing for years. A lot of people are like seeing messages that I've always been saying. You know, I've always been a conscious guy. You know, so I've just been trying to raise more awareness,
And
especially to the men.
what was the video that really went viral for you?
The first video I think that went viral for me was a video with a kid named Tristan. It went really, 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 really crazy, and it was on like every platform. I started seeing it everywhere. One of my clients asked me to talk to her son, and that was a real conversation. It wasn't fake, and it was actually me just talking to him about being accountable. And I feel like a lot of people aren't accountable these days. So a lot of people like the way I delivered the message. It wasn't harsh because I feel like a lot of parents and a lot of older people tend to talk at the youth opposed to talk to them. And I think it was more easy for him to receive it because I talked to him opposed to talk at him.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that too, because we had a guy on here called Be Great with Nate, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, when I talk to people one way versus when I talk to them another, it's the exact same information. It's just delivered differently. You articulate yourself differently, and it's received. And that allows kids to receive the message instead of put it off.
Yeah, because it's all relative. Like when you're having conversations, it's all relative. Like a person may, you know, you might sound like the Charlie Brown thing, the womp or womp. So the words are not resonating because the person is not listening to you. Because it's your delivery. It's too harsh. It's too strong. It might be too rude. You know, so they might take it a complete different way than you were trying to deliver it.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, we really have enjoyed your message. It seems like, some of your videos about boys being men, some of your videos about relationships, some of your videos are about just doing the right thing and making small progress forward. How were you able to learn some of these lessons in life?
You know, just through life experience. You know, we live in a society today where I would say feelings and opinion outweighs experience, which is the opposite. Experience is the best teacher. A lot of people feel like whatever their opinion is and however they feel, it trumps everything. So a lot of my lessons come from experience and learning from others. You know, I've always been an advocate guy that reads a lot, and on top of just reading, I go to like a lot of mature people who have more experiences than me to learn a lot of different things. I see a lot of people tend to not really they disengage with the experience today in today's society. You know, most young people look at their parents like you don't know what you're talking about, but they didn't wake up 50 years old, you know. But
Yeah.
a lot of young people tend to think like that.
Yeah. And I think that's a tough line too, right? Because sometimes you see a vision for yourself that's so different from the people that raised you that it's that hard in between of, they have their wisdom in their areas and to treat that with such respect while also saying there's certain things that I'm going to do that you're not going to understand because it's part of a bigger picture.
Agreed. You know what it is when you become a parent, you tend to see that you love your children more than you love yourself. Any good parent, you know, so it's hard when you love something more than you love yourself to not want the best for it at all times, you know, at all costs, you know, and the real good parents, we willing to risk our lives for our children to have a better life, you know, because that's how much we care. But then to have a child that's not receptive of it, they're not receiving it. Because yeah, the parent might be annoying, but usually the most annoying parent are the best parents.
Yeah,
You
they know
know,
what they're talking about.
yeah, or they care enough to want you not to go through certain things.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
And with a lot of your work is motivational and things like that. And I guess a question I wanted to ask you was on the days we come in a life where it's like self-care days and all these things, right? Where you're supposed to take care of yourself, put yourself first, even though we have all these other people to take care of and love.
yeah.
But what would you say, like on the hardest days when you don't want to wake up, you don't want to do the things that you need to do? What is the thing that drives you the most, even when you're not motivated? Because you're not going to wake up every day motivated, you know?
Yeah. See, but me, I practice more discipline opposed to motivation.
Mhm.
Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is just naturally your character. If
Yep.
you're a disciplined person, you tend to continuously do the things that's right. A lot of people are so captivated by being motivated, but again, you can wake up tomorrow and your motivation just is suppressed. It's not. You're not actively chasing it anymore because you're not motivated. But if you're disciplined, it's just who you are. Discipline is going to the gym. Discipline is having a relationship with God. Discipline is being obedient to your parents. Discipline is going to work. Discipline is knowing you have to do what you have to do regardless because it becomes naturally your character. So I tell people practice more discipline opposed to motivation because again, it can come. If you need to be motivated to win a race, that's different because you only need it for that moment. But for the long haul, you definitely have to be more disciplined.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the discipline is what gets
Mhm.
you there. It's so funny. I was just reading, obviously everybody has talked about it, but I was just reading Atomic Habits, and that was like one of the biggest thing. There's like, if you get 1% better every single day and you just do 1% more of one specific thing each day, the statistic, I don't know how they figured this out, but the statistic was that you are 37% better each year. Whereas if you went backwards and you did worse, 1%, at the end of 365 days, you were almost nothing. You had almost nothing to show for yourself by 1% a year. And the way that it compounds going forward and propelling you into your future, because they're like, if you go to the gym, if you do that one thing for your business, if you do that one thing for your relationship, if you do that one thing for yourself and keep that promise every single day, you get better at doing it and you get better over time at all of those areas of your life. And if you choose the wrong thing, if you make the wrong decision over and over and over, you don't necessarily notice it right away until you're fully in it. Like they used weight as an example, they used money as an example. If your spending was crazy throughout the day, if you didn't go to the gym, if you ate too much, if you did this, that, the other, 1, 2, 3 days of that, you're going to be okay, which gives you that false narrative of, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. Maybe not for 3 days, but for 3 months and 3 years and 3 decades of those habits and those commitments and those beliefs,
Agree.
that's a huge difference.
But it's, when you really look at it, we're in a microwave society, so a lot of the influencers tend to push false narratives because they're looking for some kind of economics from you in the sense of teaching you that there's a such thing as a microwavable win or a microwavable success. A lot of people they see me just as a barber, but I'm a multi-level entrepreneur. I have a nightclub, I have a pharmacy, I have about 21 houses. So when I talk to people about the different facets of what I do, they're like, "Wow, they're fascinated." I'm like, being a barber gave me, quote unquote, it gave me purpose. And when I became a barber, I fell in love with what I do because I started seeing how impactful I was in my community and how many people really listened to me as far as how much of a I navigated them to their levels of success as far as being a not just motivational, but like a mentor or a big brother. But a lot of times I like my story because I killed the stigma that you can't be a millionaire if you don't have quote unquote this crazy career and went to college and have a PhD. I kill all of those stereotypes. I live in a very high, richy area. I do very well financially, and I don't have a PhD or a doctorate, but yet and still I earn more than the average bear. Is because of the fact that I've learned how to navigate life, and I'm trying to reprogram minds to understand that the false narratives are being pushed is actually killing the next generation, opposed to lifting them up. It's showing them, oh, you can wake up rich and get rich overnight. Look at YouTube. Every time you go on YouTube, all you do is see, hey guys, you want to get rich overnight? And it's killing the next generation because there's no such real thing. Don't get me wrong, there will always be exceptions to the rule, but I don't tell people to roll their dice with their futures. Navigate the reality. Because it's hard when it's the matrix out here.
I love that. And I think it's huge that you talk about experience because I feel like a lot of people will just try to jump into it. And it's like experiencing for yourself is the most productive thing you can do for yourself. Put yourself in the shoes of what you want to
Agree.
do.
Yeah.
Agree.
And you got to love your process too. Like Yeah, there's a million get rich quick schemes. And obviously we have the internet and, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. It makes it a little more in your face, but they've always been there. There's always been get rich quick schemes.
Yes.
But I think at the end of the day, you got to marry the process and what
Yes.
you're doing day in and day out. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you did by being a barber is I really
Agreed.
love this. I love who I am. I love showing up and I love being there for people. And that's what's allowed you to kind of gain those skills that you didn't just use in being a barber and owning a shop, but also all of the other areas.
Listen, I feel like the world is a village, and we have to stop pushing each other away. I don't see women as the B word. I see them as my sisters. I see men as the N word. I see them as my brothers. And that's what I'm pushing. My whole message is unification, uniting people, opposed to pushing color agendas, height agendas, race agendas. I don't push those stereotypes. I push more togetherness because the God I worship don't see color. He sees people. And he says love all. So for me having this platform is giving me more of a broad audience to show that I just love. Even when someone does negative, your reaction says volumes about you. Because sometimes people, they're so negative because they don't know anything else. And it says volumes that are more about their character opposed to yours. Sometimes you have to be the light when people are only seeing darkness. So I've let myself become more lightful and enlighten more people's minds because they don't know any better. You will assume they do, but they really don't. And it's sad how society is today. But we still have to know we have to be the examples.
Yeah, I think we do for sure.
And you lead with love, which is so refreshing.
Yes.
Motivation, but love, and you can feel that literally through the screen. So we appreciate it. And if there was one thing in your life through all the ventures you've done, what's like one lesson that you said was like a game changer for you? Or that
I would say my game changer for me was learning the value of time, and understanding that your time is very valuable. I'll tell you a quick story. One time I was in my barbershop cutting. It was like, yo, this barber is giving us advice about finances. And then the next video I posted, I was with 50 Cent. And they're like, yo, how is this barber with 50 Cent? Then the next video I posted, I'm with Moneybag Yo. Then they're like, yo, how is this guy? Then I'm with Tory Lanez. They're like, how? I'm like, because perception is everything. And I'm like, the way you perceive somebody, it's not always what it is. And with social media, it has given so much false illusions that a lot of people aren't who they portray. So I'm like, look, I use my platform now to show people you can be that person that drives for Uber, but yet and still make more money than a doctor. You can be that beautician or makeup artist, but yet and still you invest so much money outside of what you do, you make tons of money. So that's what my message is. My message is to show others how you don't have your job just is stability. That's all it is. It brings you a level of stability. But what you do outside your job, we have the 9 to 5, but pretty much the 5 to 9 says really who you are. That's how I look at it, and that's what I see me being. That's my message. That's what I'm trying to get across now.
I think it's your message, and it's also what you embody, because if you got it in an unconventional way, you didn't get a PhD, you didn't get a certain degree.
Agreed.
If you did it in an unconventional way, then so can other people, and their process and their outcome is going to look different than yours.
Yes.
But you're the example for yourself first, and then for these people secondary.
Yes. But look, like I said earlier, we don't have a lot of good examples. And when I see, like, I'll meet an influencer like tomorrow, Saturday. I don't know if you know Antonio Brown, the football player / rapper. So I'm doing his album release party at my club on Saturday. So a lot of people like, yo, I said, look at this guy. Like, am I advocate for what he's doing? I do like the fact that he does stand up for himself, but his message might get misconstrued to a kid that might work at Target and think he can rebel, and knowing he doesn't have the economics. I'm like, sometimes you have to literally stand down a little bit to get to where you want. I always tell people, before you become financially free, you have to be a slave. You have to be comfortable knowing, like, I have to slave for a while, ultimately investing my money to get to where I want to be. So therefore, I'm pretty much buying back my freedom. And that doesn't matter about no color. Only 14% of the Americans live residual. I would say about 86% live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, only 1% of the country is wealthy. So therefore, the country is teaching um, more so employment. And I'm seeing it so prominent to the point where people are very miserable doing what they're doing. They're not happy with their lives. And I'm like, imagine if every day you got to wake up and do what you love. If being a
Mhm.
cop was what you always wanted to do, being a cop would be easy for you because that's what you always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. A lot of people aren't doing what they love and not being and then it's frowned upon if you say, hey, I want to do nails. Somebody will be like, oh, but you'll be the best nail tech there is because you love what you're doing.
You love it.
That's what the pursuit of happiness is bigger than economics. But I
Yeah.
do say we need to teach people how to invest more, so therefore they're able to live the life that they really want.
Yeah.
But they get to do what they want for a living and enjoy what they're doing.
I think that's a big piece too, because you enjoying what you do 8, 9, 10 hours a day,
Uh-huh.
there's an energy to that. And that energy is going to bleed out into every area of your life, your relationships with yourself, your relationships with your significant other, your children, your friends, the
Agreed.
people that you surround yourself with. And if you're doing something that you love, that's an infectious, energizing energy.
Agreed.
And it's something that you want to do. You go, you know what? I want to be the best. I want to be even better. I want to deliver more. I want to deliver more value. That also then transcends into like what you're saying, which is investments and being able to break away from that mentality of, I will do this for the rest of my life, a 9 to 5 where it just pays the bills. So I think where I want to go with this is when it comes to figuring out, firstly, what you love, what is your advice there? How do you figure out what actually drives you?
Put it like this: what would you do right now, today, no matter what, and you don't have to get paid for it?
Yeah.
But if you got paid for it, it's a plus. For instance, if you're a painter, if you feel at most peace when you're painting, then that's what you should be doing. But you should find ways. That's why I say, if you invest the money, you'll pretty much have time to do whatever you want. And that's why I say you work hard. My motto is work hard, save your money, invest. Rinse, recycle, repeat. Work hard, save your money, invest. That's my philosophy. And I tell people, if everyone has been taught that, by about 30, see, now they tell young people, go live your best life. And then later on, they're struggling, working hard. And I'm like, no, when your body can labor, you're supposed to do it when you're young. And then about the 30s and 40s, you're supposed to really live life because you've made the sacrifices while you were young.
Yeah.
And that's, they tell the opposite.
Yeah. And I think that once again, that's like the get rich quick bullshit where it's like, okay, yeah, this is fun, this is flashy, whatever, but is this going to attribute to your goals? Is this going to get you where you inevitably want to be? Like you're either working towards something or you're working away from it, and there's really no in between.
Agreed. Agreed. For me, I've noticed that a lot of people, they're so captivated by what others think. That's been a very prominent thing as far as society in a whole. I'm comfortable in my skin. My boy was like, "Yo, you gonna do the interview on a getting here?" I said, "Yeah." I'm not trying to impress the world. I'm trying to impact the world.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Like, I'm trying to impact. I try to show people an everyday Joe can do something phenomenal and touch people's worlds. You guys can be everyday people and you can impact somebody every day. And people don't know how much power they have just by saying good morning to somebody or saying thank you or saying, hey, you look nice today. Those things go a long way when told to the right person.
Yeah.
Some people don't never hear things like that.
Yeah. And I like what you're saying. It's like you're going to lead with one. You're either leading with, you're caring about what other people say, think, or feel, or
Yes.
you're like, I'm not trying to impress people. I'm trying to impact people. So if that's my goal, what am I doing every day to do that? You're like, I'm doing this interview. I'm doing this podcast. I'm doing this like speaking engagement, whatever it may be. You're like, if I'm trying to impact people, that's my main focus. I don't care about all the other stuff.
Agreed. Agreed. So when you look at it like this, whether it's one person or a million people on your podcast, continue to do what you love, because that one person that is paying attention is receptive of it. They really want to hear it.
Yeah.
They want the information. So that person is being impacted. Sometimes we try to reach the masses. I say if you're working hard, eventually it will reach the masses. just got to work hard. And if you continue to work hard, hard work becomes easy because it becomes your natural character. Again, back to being disciplined. You know, hard work becomes nothing when you're used to working hard. You know, some people don't even know they work hard because
Yeah.
that's all they do. And that's myself. Some people tell me like, yo, you work hard. I'm like, do I?
Yeah, you're
They
like,
be
this
like,
is
yeah. I'm
my
like, I don't know anything else. You know, and the money will flow with the hard work. You know,
And if you were like a total beginner with investment, right? What's something that you would give as like tangible tips for investing?
uh huh. Say that one more time.
Yeah, no. So if you were like new to investing, what's a
Okay.
couple of tangible tips that you could give to someone to start out?
Me personally, I would tell everybody right now the stock market is extremely low. I'm not a financial advisor, so let me throw that out there. You know, but I would definitely say the stock market is very low. There are great companies that are on sale. It's like walking into Gucci and everything says 75% off. You know, it's like your eyes should be this big when looking at the stock market because there's a lot of great companies that are very, very cheap. But I also say one thing a lot of people need to learn how to do, saving can change your life. People need to learn how to save. A lot of people don't have good saving tactics. They spend money more than they make. You know, you have people that make small amounts of money, but they can go so much further because the guy that showed me how to invest actually was in New York. We have something called TLC, that's Taxi and Limousine Commission. You know, he drove for a taxi company, and he literally showed me like it wasn't about what you make, it's what you can preserve. So teaching people how to save. Once you start saving, you'll see that you'll financially be in positions to take risk as far as investing. You know, and that's really what it is. Because stores are opening up every day, opportunities are there. It's just about having the economics to do it. You know?
I think that's a big point to touch on as well, because we do live in a world where invest in this, invest in this. And I think that there's such a big piece of that that's missing. And, you know, when you see that, it's like, oh, do I have enough money to invest? Do I
Yes.
have enough money? Do I have the right principles? Have I been practicing? And literally that book this morning on the Stairmaster is just hitting me on so many levels. And it was like, you could be a millionaire and it could be coming in one door and out the other, and you could be
Yes.
saving none of that. Whereas you could have a very small income, but every month you're putting that little bit away in order to save for the dream fund, the future,
Agreed.
the investment, whatever it is. And it's so much less about how much you have coming in and so much more about what you do and the percentages that you allocate.
And there's a
Agreed.
podcast that we love. It's called The Skinny Confidential. And one of the guys talks about how every year they usually increase salary, right? And he
Yeah.
was like, every year though, we stay at the past salary we were at. We never move past it and we save what we additionally make. And I thought
Yes.
about it and I'm like, it's so important to have that strong money mindset when you start to grow in before, because if you don't have that, you're never going to save anything.
I agree 100%. That's why I said my philosophy: the work hard, save money, invest. If you look at it, most people don't want to work hard. Most people don't want to save, and most people fear to invest. So realistically, how do you change your life? You know, it's reality, and I talk about like my book is coming out actually in the next month or so. It's called the art of reprogramming the mindset,
Okay.
meaning it talks about group economics. It talks about generational wealth. I talk about what is a father. I talk sister sister. I talk to my women about how more women should have more respect for themselves. And I can only speak from a man's perspective because of the fact that I'm a man. I couldn't talk from a woman to a woman. I'm not a woman. You know, so
That's
I
okay.
talk about sister sister. You know, a lot of different things I talk about in this book that I feel like more people need to be less adamant about hearing reality. You know, a lot of people don't want to hear no truth. You know, as soon as you say anything, people always are on the defense. And I'm like, we need to break these molds. You know, more men need to hear that you need therapy because all you're doing is breaking more women down because of your past traumas. You know, we need to acknowledge these things. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand the human brain is very, very not that easy to understand unless you really have the information. You know, therapy is real. Psychologists are real. You know, some people really need therapy. And, you know, you have some women who've been broken by men so much that they think every man is coming to hurt them. And I'm like, these are conversations that need to be had more so we can raise more awareness. You know, a lot of people do have mental traumas. You know, I didn't even know till about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that you can pass on substance abuse through genealogy and genetics. I never even knew that, you know, until I read about it. And I was like, wow, you could actually pass on substance abuse,
Yeah.
you know, and these are things that we need to talk about.
Even the one of the books that really shook me was The Body Keeps Score, and just
Wow.
how the body, mind, and soul will take. I mean, it starts off very scientific as well, and I think that's kind of the leading factor of why so many people listen to this and why it's resonated. But you know, every cell that you had and everything that you were created was from your mother. And so all of the things that she's experienced in her life, her feelings, her emotions, her traumas, her fears, all of those things are things that at one point you shared.
Yeah.
And so as she birthed you, as she raised you, there's nature and there's nurture, but there's both. And so there's certain things that are within you that were within her, that were in her mother, that were in her mother.
I
And
agree.
that was one of the craziest things to me, because it's like, you know, we do live in a world where some people want to say, no, I'm fine. I don't need therapy. I don't need this. I don't need that. And nobody's perfect. And I think at the end of the day, it's pretty safe to say that, you know, everybody wants to have a good relationship with their partner and their potential children and the people that they love. And how are we going to get there? It's like, you have to have real, vulnerable, raw conversations with people about what's really
Agreed.
going on.
No filter.
No filter.
No filter. You know, one of the greatest conversations not a conversation. One of the greatest moments of my life is I was at a college graduation, and the guy that was graduating was on autism. He's on the spectrum, and he did a speech. He graduated with a bachelor's, and he's on the spectrum. And you know what he said? He said, "It's funny how people tease me because I was born with a disability, but yet and still you don't tease people who aren't born with a disability but do nothing with their lives." And when he said that, man, it impacted me. I was about 13 years old, and it impacted me so much. I said, it's funny that people do tease people who are born with a disability, but the people who don't take advantage of life and who's ungrateful that they were born 10 fingers, 10 toes, a working, functioning brain, and they don't look at life as like, hey, I have every opportunity to do something with myself. It's on me to realize that I can and to put myself in a position to do it. You know, the power of networking, the power of realistically humbling yourself and asking for help. You know, a lot of people don't want to do it because they feel too, quote unquote, what's the word, egotistical, or too. Yeah, I'm not gonna ask these. That's called pride, and I find that foolish. You know, I'm honored for you guys to even ask me to be on your podcast. I'm gonna be honest with you, because for you guys reaching out, I was like, look, I'm thankful for every opportunity that I get to spread my message to anybody that's willing to listen. You know, because for me, I'm a very humble guy and grateful. You know, I've always been grateful, and I see that people just need to hear it. There's no level of platforms. Everything grows. You know, as long as you nurture it, putting water on it, fertilizing it, and putting sunlight on it, it's gonna grow. Every platform starts this big and it grows. You know, as long as you plant the seeds and you take care of it, it's gonna grow. You know.
You kind of like tracked right into what you were saying at the beginning, that it's all about discipline.
Yep.
And
It
how
is.
discipline is, at the end of the day, it's really just keeping promises to yourself.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you stay around people that are equivalent or better, you're gonna always keep growing. You know, you got to stay around people that hold you accountable. I think that's the word that people fear the most: accountability. You know, you can do something wrong, but still find 40 reasons to not be wrong. You know, which is crazy. But I'm around people that hold me very accountable, and so do I. I do the same for them. I'm like, look, it's on you. You know, you got to make the right choices. You can't
And
keep
I
making
think that's
excuses.
huge. Like, I think more people need friends and circles like that. Could you just tell us a little bit what that looks like? Like,
Like a good
genuinely
circle.
what that looks like.
Like, let's say, for instance, if I make a poor choice, in my mind, I'm like, whatever the consequences are, I'm willing to accept it because I made that choice. I'm not gonna make a poor choice. Like, say, for instance, using my money, I go out, I spend my whole paycheck, then I cry about being broke the next day. That was a conscious decision. You know, there was no gun to your head. No one made you do it. You chose to do it. But yet and still, I'm gonna say it's the world's fault. I walked into the Gucci store and spent my money. I have to take it, the consequences. You know, or I chose to go on a vacation opposed to paying my car note. You know, I got to deal with repossession. You know, you have to be accountable. Like, it's certain things we look for the world to feel sorry for us, when a lot of the times our wounds are self-inflicted. We hurt ourselves. You know.
That's huge. That's powerful because it's just taking self accountability. And I feel like this year, especially even like for myself, I can speak on discipline's been huge because it's like, and like you said, you're not going to be motivated every day. It's the discipline and the daily discipline that you preach to yourself.
I agree 100%. But you look. Sometimes it's easy to get distracted, but it's about backtracking or being around people who are doing the same thing. So
Mhm.
sometimes it just gives you reignites that fire in you. So sometimes you got it, like you in the gym. Sometimes you might need a partner. You're like, you know why I want a partner? Because the days I'm tired, she may not be tired. So
Mhm.
therefore, she give me that extra push.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of having somebody, standing next to you.
Yeah.
Because even if you take Batman and Robin, at times Robin helped out Batman. You know,
Mhm.
so Batman may be quote unquote the big superstar, but Robin definitely did help out Superman. I mean Batman.
Yeah,
You
and just
know,
like you said, if you have that situation where you spend all your money at Gucci or on a vacation or on stupid shit or whatever, your friends are going to be like, "Yeah, you knew better. Like
Mhm.
you
yes,
knew better. Like let's do better next time, but like you knew better and you knew that wasn't the right decision to make and you made it
agreed,
anyways." Yeah.
agreed. But are you
Mhm.
gonna tell yourself that?
Yeah.
Here comes that accountability. Now you have to stand there and say, you know what, I did it. It is what it is.
Yep.
Mhm.
I had a friend of mine who engaged in illegal activity, and finally, when he got caught, he blamed society. Oh, the guy snitched on me, and I'm like, bro, if you never gave him nothing to snitch on, he would have never snitched on you.
Mhm.
But when you tell people that, are they willing to hear that? You know, and usually I'm the kind of person that people will run away from because like he's too truthful. So they isolate themselves around people who tell them what they want to hear, opposed to what they need to hear.
That's huge. And I feel like you value your time a ton, which we love. We're the same way. But I think you're really good. And I kind of want you to speak on it quickly about like relationships. Like when it comes to relationships, it's almost similar to time. Like who you spend your time with is so important. How did
Agreed.
that evolve for you? Like out of like whether it was high school or like on to the next chapter in your life? Like how did that kind of evolve?
Let's be logical and let's have a real saying. I believe in the Bible. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a Christian myself. I'm not perfect, but I do believe. But the acknowledging what is love. Love is kind, love is pure, love is patient. These are the things that love, that's what the Bible says what love is. But people keep trying to change love. They try to make people who they want them to be. And the problem with that is you're going to only build something called a resentment. You're going to build someone basically not liking you because you're trying to force them to be who they're not.
Mhm.
When you love somebody, you're more prone to accept them for who they are, opposed to forcing them to be. You can challenge them, but if you're forcing them, then it's not that's not love.
Mhm.
People don't really know what love looks like, and I think we need to redefine or re-show people what love looks like. A
Yeah.
lot of people's like, "Oh my God, he's lazy." I'm like, "You dated him 3 years. You took you 3 years to realize he was lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
Mhm.
you lived in
And
it."
that's accountability. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
you know what you're doing and you know this man or this
Yeah,
woman
30 on the charger.
far before you get married, far
I'm gonna
before
charge you
you're in
up.
a
I'm gonna
relationship.
charge you. But what it is we will say stuff like, you know what? At the end of the day, I felt like I can change him. I can fix him. You can't fix somebody that don't want to fix themselves.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You're not God. You can pray over somebody. You can wish the best for them, but sometimes the best love is tough love. And you have to be willing to walk away from people because it's not allowing people to keep continuously have access to you when they don't mean you any good. That's unhealthy for you. And
Yeah.
a lot of people they're in a lot of unhealthy situations.
And at the end of the day, I think why would you want to be with somebody that you have to fix? You don't want to have to fix all your friends. You don't want to have to fix all your family. You don't want to, this is the one person that you choose in your life to be a partner, to
Mhm.
be your best friend, to be your ride or die. And it's like, you really want another project. You want somebody that on a hard day, they make it harder and not easier. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree. But society tries. I will say this, in the defense of women, I will say that the options aren't plentiful. A lot of these guys, I'm like, they're betas posing to be alphas.
Mhm.
They pick and choose when to be men and when not to be men. And when they want to go back to their fetus or boy stage, they run back to their fetus or boy stage. I tell a man you have to be a man 365, 7 days a week, 24/7. But a
Yeah.
lot of these guys, they're looking for the easy way. So a lot of them feel like, I went viral for a video that actually talked about, I feel like a lot of men are broke because they're not high earners and they have 3 and 4 girls and they think they're doing well. And I'm like, you're broke because you have 3 or 4 girls and you can't even afford one, but yet and still you want 3 or 4. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is why you're broke. If
Yep.
you notice, our grandfathers, they were married there. Our dads, they were married. Now you're looking at the new generation, which is my generation, your generation. It's less. It's getting less and less and less. People aren't valuing marriage, not realizing that building with a life mate actually makes your life easier and you guys accomplish more, because 8 times 2 is 16. So if 16 hours of work is coming to a house every day, that house has more finances to progress opposed to an individual with just 8 hours. And that's how I see it.
And what do you think it is when it's like being a man? What are some of the qualities? What are some of the characteristics? What are the things are actually genuinely important?
Being consistent, one is being consistent and being comfortable in your skin. That's major. A lot of people aren't comfortable in their own skin, so they try to portray these images, what they think society feel they should or shouldn't be. Once a man is become a man, he doesn't care about what people think anymore. That becomes relative. That's irrelevant. A man, one, he's consistent. Two, a man holds himself accountable. Three, a man sacrifices to put his family in a better position. By all means, if your family's failing, as the man, I'm gonna take the sinking ship, because even from a biblical standpoint, the Bible says the man is the head, not the tail, and the woman be at the neck. So if a man is the head, if the ship is failing, that means the man is doing bad for the family. And these men need to stand up and say, I meet men that point, when I point always on women. I'm like, yo, how are you a man blaming a woman? Like, come on, it's supposed to be your helpmate. So what are you talking about the woman? Man
Yeah.
up and own what you're not doing. It's just what it is.
And I feel like you're like giving the security, like the man is giving the security to the woman to be in her feminine, which is so
Yes,
important. But
yes,
at the same time, it's like the same thing that goes hand in hand with discipline. Like you both are stepping up for each other. And I think once that's reciprocated on both ends, it makes like a dream team. And that's kind of like what I feel like everyone's looking for.
It's kind of what you said of like the gym, which I think is like a really sweet analogy, because sometimes we get too into this what men should do, what women should do, but at the end of the day, you guys are a team
picking each other
and
up.
You're gonna have kids and you're gonna have bills and you're gonna have a life and you're gonna have all these things, and everybody's gonna have their different roles, but each one of you are gonna have a bad day and you're gonna have a down day. And it's kind of like in the gym where you go, who do I want to be around every single day? Because you choose these people, right? Who do I want to be around every single day when I'm not feeling it and I need somebody that's going to push me because they love me, but they want me to love myself?
Agreed. But that's when oneself has to be honest with themselves. And I feel like the greatest lie most people tell is the lie to themselves. It's the greatest lie, because once you lie so many times to the mind actually believes the lie, and the lie becomes reality. People believe things that I'm like, wow, but they've lied to themselves so long that they believe it. And then they're around people who are pretty much co-signing the lie. So the lie becomes reality, or becomes truth, or becomes governed, it becomes law. And I'm like, the greatest truth should be told to oneself at all costs. Once you lie to yourself, you pretty much can lose yourself. And a lot of people, they lie to themselves so much that they actually lose themselves. And I'm like, this is crazy. Look at how many people we all know that are broke, but they act like they're rich and they believe it. And they wholeheartedly believe it. And it's because society tells that you have to look a certain way. Society tells you that more women that have what's the word, the BBLs and all of these things are more attractive. And what is BBW, whatever it is, BB something. I don't even know. BB, what is it?
Yeah,
And
you're
BBL.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
BBL's okay. So I'm not into it, but I see it. But for me, I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And on top of it, when a person loves themselves, that is the genuine acceptance of beauty. When they love who they are. When you look in the mirror, you should always love who you becoming. And as you start seeing yourself becoming, that's beauty, because it's, you know your story, you know your testimony, you know where you've been. So it's like you should be proud of yourself every day, because I don't think enough people pat themselves on the back because they don't see the odds they've beat. And I'm like, you're beating odds. Some people are breaking generational curse. Some people come from no parents in homes and they're married. Some people are the first to graduate from college in their families. There's a lot of different walls that are being knocked down. And I'm like, a lot of people aren't giving themselves enough credit. You know,
Yeah.
your mother could be a yeller. Everything she does yells. And you decided not to be a yeller because you don't want to re-push that going on to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And that's huge. I mean, there's so much healing to do and there's so much that we can do. And that's that 1%. Like, you don't figure it out overnight, but you figure it out day by day. And that's going to come from the actual practice, like becoming a practitioner of the things that you believe in. And I think that we live in a world where, you know, everybody wants to say, oh, you're great just as you are and love yourself. Yes, there's a level of that, but I loved what you said where you have to love who you're becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you working to? Like, what is your end goal? What are you working towards every single day? You want to become a better person, a better parent, a better business owner, a better intellectual, whatever that may be, whether you're talking about your confidence, your beauty, your intelligence, your capability, any of the things that you're striving for is going to come from you putting in that work every single day.
Agree. Watch this simple logic. If you say, I said becoming, if a person if they're not evolving, if they're not growing, the opposite of growing is death.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they're dying. You know, if you're not growing and you're not continuously learning or constantly learning, that means you're dying. You know, and so to keep evolving is to keep life and to be fruitful and to keep allowing yourself to take in new information and to learn new things and to try new things, because at the end of the day, no one truly knows what they're capable of unless they've tried. You know, always trying new things and seeing the world for what it is and enjoying the ride too. Enjoying it, you know?
Yeah. And before we have one last question that we ask all our guests, but before we do that, where's your barbershop? And then what is the title of your book? Where can we get it? We'll link it below because it's likely that it will be out by the time this episode airs.
No problem. My book is called The Art of Reprogramming a Mindset. You know, my links, I'm going to give you all my links. You know, you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram at QTheBoss516. My barbershop is in Baldwin, Long Island, New York, 1963 Grand Avenue. I've owned it for a very long time, since I was a puppy. You know, I had it for a long time. It actually taught me a lot about who I am. You know, and you know, pretty much, you know, my message I want to get out of this book is learning who you are and accepting yourself, and understand you're not in it alone. And there are things that people think that they're the only ones going through it, but it's tons of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the world's just hide they mask all their stuff. Why do you think people do drugs? Why do you think they date false loves? Because they're masking the problems. You know, they're masking it. And I want to talk about those things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, we're wicked excited to read your book. It's going to be awesome.
Appreciate you.
We're definitely going to have to come see you at the barbershop.
Listen, let me know whenever. You guys could come to my club one night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you guys located?
So this is a funny story. So we're actually from just south of Boston, and I was living in Los Angeles for maybe the last 4 years or so, and then she was down there with me in a little bit Orange County. But we just moved back to the East Coast.
Yep.
Because you guys don't sound like Boston people.
Yeah.
You don't have a Boston accent at all.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, because Boston, you know, that accent is very distinctive.
Yeah.
If you came to dinner with my family, you'd be like,
you would know.
This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So you guys let me know. You know, you can come down to New York one day. We could just go out.
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And our last question is, you know, our tagline for this show is we're talking about real shit. We're talking about, you know, all the things that we wish we knew sooner in life.
Nice.
And we ask all of our guests, what is one thing that you wish you knew sooner?
I wish I knew I was a leader opposed to a follower. I wish I knew that I was, God gave me a purpose. And I wish I knew my purpose a lot sooner, because I felt like a lot of trial and error for me to find who I am today. So when I'm speaking with this confidence, it took me years to find it, because I was also a guy that wanted to be accepted. So I just wish that I knew that this was meant for me to do it. I found my voice earlier. You know, I found my voice. I used to hate this voice that talks. I hated it. And now tons of people love it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's just pretty much it.
I love it. And that's just like a good reminder for everyone to just start your journey now.
Yeah.
Like be on your path, be in your process as soon as you can, because every day is a gift.
And like you said,
Agreed.
accept yourself for who you are, because even if you're not loving it at the moment, someone's gonna love it.
I 100% agree. 100%. As long as you're being real, you can tell when somebody being themselves. You can see fake a mile away. It stands out.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well,
So,
thank you.
Listen, I appreciate you
so
guys.
much for coming on. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Listen,
We seriously
you know my
appreciate it.
catchphrase though, right?
What is
Don't
it?
let that go over your head.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll end with that. The people will love it.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for being on the show.
No, come on, I appreciate you guys anytime.